We can get a quorum. I believe Councilman Hudson should be here shortly. I know I did receive a phone call from Councilwoman Hardman. She's on her way, but just running a tad bit late. So as soon as you see Councilman Hudson smiling, and there he is.
Actually,
What do you know?
late.
He's right on time. So with that, I will call the September 19th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, please sign in. We will re-sign in when Councilwoman Hardman gets here as well.
3 members present.
Okay, Ryan, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes, Your Honor.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
3 yes.
Okay, citizen forum. Anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of public hearings or new business, please come to the podium here, give us your name and address for the record, and I ask that you keep it within 5 minutes, and please keep it civil and respectful. And here comes Councilwoman Hardman, so we're going to re-sign in before anybody comes up here to speak. So we're just on citizens forum, so you didn't miss much. Yep.
I told you I would be.
Yep, I just announced that a couple times.
Yeah. go ahead.
Okay, please re-sign in. No, you're good.
4 members present.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Okay, anybody that would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of new business or public hearings, please come to the podium. Like I said, give us your name and address for the record. Keep it to 5 minutes, keep it civil and respectful. Okay. Seeing no movement in the audience, I will go online. Anybody online that would like to address the council, please hit *6, not #6, but *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Going once, going twice. Citizens Forum is closed. Moving on to item 3, Mayor, Council, Manager Report, Other Entities Update. We will start down here with Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say it was a pleasure serving, being at the citywide appreciation luncheon with yourself and Councilman Trevilian as we flipped burgers and chicken to thank staff for all of their hard work and dedication to the city of West Des Moines. I enjoyed your remarks and representing the council on showing our appreciation for all the hard work that is being done to make this city a good place for all folks, regardless of their differences, generation, socioeconomic background, and all of those things. So it's just a fun thing to do, and I'll put it on the record to say thank you to all of the leadership team and the staff for all the hard work that they do every day to lift the city up.
Thank you so much. I would just echo those comments. It was a great lunch. My mistake. We've been doing that for a number of years. Our finance director reminded me of that. I was excited. I thought this was maybe the city staff appreciation dinner coming back in the form of a lunch, but I'm going to still have to lobby the city manager to get that dinner back someday with complete with the Golden Door Awards and all that. So, yeah, we got to bring Barrett back for the Golden Door.
That'd be great.
But appreciate everybody that was there that could make it and serve the food. And as I said at the meeting, you know, we've got a lot of incredible elected officials up here that serve, but elected officials will come and go, and it's staff that makes this city what it is. So really appreciate everything that staff does to make us who we are, and it was just a great lunch. So, okay, with that, Councilman McKinney.
Thank you, Russ, and well said. I was sorry to have not been able to be there, but as I've heard, and I actually watched some of the YouTube video of the event, it sounded like it was a good event. So on a different note, I did enjoy attending the West Des Moines Chamber's First Responders Breakfast. I thought that was, shout out to Catherine, who always puts out a good event, but that was a particularly good event. Seeing Chief Lou and Chief Scott there and celebrating and supporting our first responders. So that's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Councilman Hudson.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one quick thing. This Sunday is the Sunday supper in our town with Human Services. And Althea, I got you. Althea, did you want to come up and say a couple words? Are you good to go right there?
I'm good to go.
All right. Althea and I were talking about how she doesn't get called up too much, but I wanted to offer that opportunity. But it is to really help our Human Service Department, which of course brings great value to our city, and helps out so many people, both old and young, and in the middle. So that's all I have,
Awesome.
Your Honor. Thank you.
For doing that. It will be 5 to 8. 5 to 8. And I believe, is it again at Fleming's? 5 to 8 at Fleming's. So, all right, come on up.
I'm coming up.
Come on up.
Make sure everybody knows what's
Do you
going
have
on.
room for one more RSVP?
Althea Holcomb, Director of Human Services, and yay, I'm up here for the first time. Our annual, 12th annual Sunday supper event is this coming Sunday night at Fleming's. Orders start at 5 and cocktails, and dinner will be at 6. And our illustrious mayor will have a few words to speak, and it'll be a good event.
I hope there's a better speaker than me. Hopefully we're bringing some talent in.
It will be a
You're
good,
it.
Oh, no.
It will be a good event, and it does in fact help us help our low-income individuals in this community. We're serving about 1,600 households right now, and I'll tell you what, our food pantry keeps growing every week. So you're all invited, and it certainly will help us help them. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a great event. Really look forward to it, Althea. Thank you so much. Okay, on to City Manager Haddon. Any report?
Yeah, just, I don't know if you caught the big series in the Sunday Register, started yesterday and ended today on EMS systems throughout the state. It's been, of course, discussed on local television stations recently, but our West Des Moines was a big part of that article, in that they kind of looked to us as leaders in the state, and I think we need to be count our blessings that we're fortunate to have such a great service as we do here in West Des Moines. So it's a challenge for a lot of the state, and they're trying, and our folks are trying to work for a leadership role and get it better for those. But but if you're here, you're going to get great service. So just want to give an update on that. Thanks to them.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on, consent agenda. Are there any items that any council person would like to have pulled from the agenda?
4E, please.
Okay, item 4E. Anybody else? Okay, if not, I would take a motion to remove the remainder.
Second.
Okay. Okay, please vote.
Matt, did you mean to
Oh, I'm
abstain on the
sorry.
remainder?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
we can do a revote of
Yeah, thank you.
the
Right.
full consent. Just grab the next one. Okay.
No, it was on the remainder.
It was on the remainder.
So it was on the whole thing?
Yes.
Oh, and you
Correct.
I
abstained?
abstained on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
gotcha. Thank you.
So now we're doing a revote on the remainder of consent
Okay.
agenda.
Everything but 4E.
My mistake, yep.
I think we need-
Yep.
4 yes.
Okay, item 4E, approval of renewal contract agreement, on-call fiber optic conduit network repair and maintenance service. Councilman McKinney.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm just going to abstain for potential conflict of interest.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
3 yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 5, old business. Item 5A, the Village at Sugar Creek, northeast corner of Booneville Road and South 88th Street, amend the Village at Sugar Creek Planned Unit Development Ordinance to modify parcel boundaries and designate and regulate support commercial land use within development parcel B, DB Booneville LLC. We've got an ordinance for approval, the second reading, waiver the third, and adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues, and there's no change from the previous reading. This was approved unanimously, both by P&Z and council, with Trevilian and Lotes absent.
Move consideration of the second reading.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map in the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 9 Plan Unit Development District pertaining to PUD district regulations and guidelines.
Move approval of the second reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Move to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 5B, ordinance amendment, amend Title IX zoning pertaining to accessory structures for recreation, sports, entertainment facilities, city initiated. We've again got approval of second reading, waiver of third, adoption of final form. There are no outstanding issues. No change from the previous reading, and again, this was adopted unanimously by both P&Z and council with Lotes and Trevilian absent.
Move consideration second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019, Title IX zoning pertaining to accessory structure regulations related to recreation, sports, and sport-based entertainment facilities.
Move approval of the second reading.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Move waiving the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
We didn't get your vote.
I think it's sticking.
Four yes.
Okay, item 5C, ordinance amendment, to amend Title IX zoning and Title 10 subdivision regulations to modify regulations pertaining to street side yard on corner lots, city initiated. Again, we've got an ordinance for approval, the second reading, waiver the third, and adoption of final form. And once again, there's no outstanding issues, no change from the previous reading, and this was also passed unanimously by council and P&Z with Trevilian and Lotes absent.
Move consideration of the second reading.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019, Title IX zoning and Title 10 subdivision regulations pertaining to street side yards.
Move approval of the second reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Move to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, 5D, Jordan Ridge Plat 1, southwest corner of South Jordan Creek Parkway and Stagecoach Drive. Approve final plat to create 3 outlots for transfer of ownership and future development, Jordan Ridge LLC. We have a resolution for approval and release of the final plat. There are no outstanding issues, and I would just note that this item was deferred from the September 6th meeting. It was deferred due to residents' concerns on El Dorado regarding apartments on Jordan Creek Parkway. Councilman McKinney and I met with the developer on September 9th, along with staff, and we asked the developer if he could work to mitigate some of the concerns that were raised by the residents. Unfortunately, while there wasn't a lot the developer was able to do, we did get to see a site plan of the apartments. There are 3 buildings that will be built along Jordan Creek Parkway, with 2 of them being south of El Dorado and 1 somewhat north. The developer said that he would work with us to the extent possible to move the building pads slightly to get them a little bit further away from El Dorado. He also assured us that the design of these apartments would be high-end and that there would be considerable buffering. They're going to try to save as many trees as possible. And we also did a measurement to figure out how close the apartment is from the nearest home there, and it is 900 feet away. So I could tell you after that meeting, I wish there was more that we could do, but I felt pretty comfortable given the site plan that we saw and the developer's willingness to try to even tweak it a little bit more to move those buildings so slightly if possible. So with that, can I get a motion to approve and release the final plat?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I'd just add, Mayor, in addition to your comments, I was also concerned when I saw the map and the outlots kind of along Jordan Creek Parkway from Booneville to, I think it's Stagecoach on the north, that there may be development on the east side of that. There's a creek stream through there, and when that came through development and planning, I think it was pretty clear that that was not going to be the case. And I guess I didn't have that clarity, and when I was looking at the document, they made clear in that meeting that there's not going to be development on the east side of that creek or stream. In fact, my notes show that they intend to have about a 300-foot plus green belt in that area, and that they'd, as you talked about, buffer and continue to work with the city on design. So I appreciated the opportunity to talk through that, better understand it, and glad we're here now.
Okay, any other discussion?
So yeah, I was just commenting as well, kind of similar to what you were saying, Matt. Mayor, when you kind of said that they'll be along Jordan Creek Parkway, really, they'll be next to the Greenway, which is next to Jordan Creek Parkway. And Jordan Creek Parkway, once it's eventually widened quite a bit, it'll be the width of Jordan Creek Parkway. Then it'll be 100 or 200 feet plus of what looks like 100-year floodplain or floodway, so to speak. And then beyond that, to the west, will be the apartment buildings. Is that correct?
Correct.
So they're not right alongside Jordan Creek Parkway at all?
No,
Okay.
no, there is a decent buffer that's going to be there. And like we said, the measurement that we got from, the building, the apartment building to that first home that kind of is up on that hill is about 900 feet.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it.
No, thank you for the clarification. Appreciate that. Okay, any other discussion before we vote on this item? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, now's the time for public hearings. Item 6A, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider amendment to City Code, Title 9 zoning, Chapter 6, Commercial Office and Industrial District, modify regulations pertaining to the national security facilities to be allowed in the General Industrial Zoning District initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, did you please read the date the notice was published?
September 2nd, 2022 in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comment to this hearing?
The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes, 1 was absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the ordinance amendment.
Okay, anybody from the audience or online that would like to address the City Council on item 6A? If you're in the audience, come to the podium, give us your name and address. If you're online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address. Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed, and we've got an ordinance for approval of the first reading, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to consider the first reading?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019, Title 9 zoning, Chapter 6, Commercial Office and Industrial District pertaining to SIC 9711, National Security in the General Industrial District.
Motion to approve the first reading?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 6B, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider National Guard Readiness Center vacation of a 5,539 square foot parcel of right-of-way of southeast Moffett Lake Road initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
September 2nd, 2022, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comments to this hearing?
The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes, 1 was absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the vacation request.
Motion
Okay.
to consider the first reading?
Okay, hold on real quick. I'm going to ask anybody from the audience if they'd like to address the council on the item, and then we'll get to that. Anybody from the audience like to address the council item 6B? Please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, *6, not #6, *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, seeing and hearing no activity. I will declare the public hearing closed, and I will go to Councilman Hudson.
Motion to consider the first reading?
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes, an ordinance of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, vacating an approximately 5,539 square foot parcel generally located on the west side of Southeast Moffett Lake Road and north of Veterans Parkway.
Motion to approve the first reading?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6C, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider 2021-2022 FY Community Development Block Grant Program Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, did you please read the date the notice was published?
September 9th, 2022, in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience or online that would like to address the council on item 6C, please come to the podium, give us your name and address, or hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution for approval of the CAPER, as the acronym would be. Can I get a motion? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 6D, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Community Development Block Grant Program 2022-2023 Annual Action Plan initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, did you please read the date the notice was published?
September 9th, 2022, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6D, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, once again, hearing and seeing no activity, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution for approval of the 2022-23 Annual Action Plan.
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Mayor, I do have a question here.
Okay.
And I don't know how these were developed, and I'm certain a lot of thought was put into it. But I guess what I'm curious about is the way this is broken down. It's on page 238, 239, maybe in my packet here. Talks about the different categories for which allocations would be allocated. And we've got public service, homeless prevention, which includes, as I understood it, utility assistance, I believe. And then you've got the land acquisition. And I guess what I'm a little concerned about is I keep reading about energy costs. And front page of Wall Street Journal today was talking about very high energy costs are coming. And, you know, last month our energy costs were up 15% over last year, very significant. A lot of people are talking about it. And I guess I'm just, you know, the allocation for the on the energy side was about 20,000. The allocation on the land acquisition was about 10 times that amount. And I'm just wondering if I guess I'm a little concerned about the price of energy we're going to get in winter, and
Sure.
are we going to have enough funds there versus the land acquisition side?
Sure. It was worthwhile for you to come, Christine.
Always. You guys usually throw in a question. Christine Gordon, Housing Community Development Manager. So the way the allocation works, public service dollars, certain types of programs are limited to 15% of our allocation. So that is one reason that I put the public service in front of those. So even if we wanted to move money out of land acquisition into public service, we could not do that. We'd have to move the money around among the public service programs we already have, which is the Transit Pass program that purchases the DART passes and the homeless prevention. And utility assistance is a portion of that. Yes, that Althea does through Human Services.
I would also tell you that we get funding through LIHEAP, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and there's a moratorium that also goes into place where people cannot be disconnected. I can't remember what the date is at that. I want to say October, sometime in October.
October 1st.
Okay.
For seniors and disabled people.
Yep.
November 1st.
Okay, so October 1st and November 1st for all others. So we will have a moratorium. We do have LIHEAP funds that come into the state, and we are actually, I think we're still the contract agency that does that for others in the metro. And I have seen, having my other hat on, if there is some concern with that, typically we'll get an additional appropriation from the federal government for LIHEAP.
Okay.
But
Well, Christine, thank you for answering the question, and Althea, thank you for the input. I guess I'm sensitive to this because I'm
Absolutely.
fearful of what might come as people are talking about energy rates. And
Great point.
And so, maybe we keep an eye out for what you're talking about, Mayor.
Yep, I agree. Great point. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6E, this is a time and place for a public hearing to consider Raccoon River Park playground replacement initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, just please read the date the notice is published.
September 2nd, 2022 in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6E, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit *6, not #6, but *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, hearing none, I will declare the public hearing. We've closed. We've got 2 resolutions and a motion, which we can take at the same time.
Motion to approve?
Okay, there's been a motion, a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, new business, item 7A, West Glen, Village North, 450 South Prairie View Drive, accept surety for public improvements and approve final plat to create 184 lots for multifamily development in 3 outlots, WD Real Estate Holdings, Inc. We've got a resolution for accepting surety for public improvement and approval and release of the final plat. There are no outstanding issues. Both P&Z and Development and Planning approved this preliminary plat in 2021. And according to the Pinky, the plat has not changed much in the final plat. As part of the approval, we will be accepting surety, as it mentions, for the completion of public improvements, legal documents to establish public easement for sanitary sewer and overland flow, and parkland dedication, as well as stormwater management maintenance facility covenant and permanent easement agreement for this property.
Move approval.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'm just looking at, on this particular map, I'm looking at Sandstone, and is Sandstone going to be remaining private, or is it going to become a public street? We do hear about Sandstone a lot.
Lynn Tweet, Director of Development Services. All the roads within here are private.
Okay, so I know there was discussion of maybe making Sandstone public at one point, but it's going to remain private. I mean, it says private here, but I just wanted to confirm that. But it will be still a through street that can make it through to the Super Target in between
Correct.
Prairieville. Okay,
It'll be upgraded to rebuilt as a public street, but it'll remain private.
okay. Thank you, Lynn.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 7B, Microsoft DSM 12 fit out, 5855 Southwest Cary Street, approve major modification to site plan to allow installation of additional site development improvements, Microsoft Corporation. We've got a resolution for approval of the major modification. There are no outstanding issues, and again, both Development and Planning and P&Z approved this unanimously.
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
And I should note, if anybody in the audience would like to address the council on any of these items, they should feel free to do so. Item 7C, we've got a motion for denial of liquor license for Chaos Club. Just a little bit of history, and I believe the applicant is here tonight. The applicant does have a little bit of a history with the city. We went to deny the liquor license in 2018, and we were told that the applicant was not going to be the one running the business, but rather his wife was going to run the business instead, and that he was not going to be involved. Since this time, it has been proven that that is not the case. We've also got documentation of 2 violations of violating the governor's proclamation during COVID. We've got a refusal to allow police to enter the establishment. We've got an issue that the applicant has not paid taxes on either this establishment or their other establishment and owe over $100,000 in back taxes. In 2021, the applicant took a plea deal and pled guilty of fraudulent practice in the 3rd degree. We also received a complaint from a concerned parent whose underage son was served alcohol not once but twice at the establishment. And then also the applicant was allowing alcohol in the establishment past 2 a.m. That was on June of 2022. Based on this lack of good financial standing due to the back taxes and due to disregarding following applicable laws, the city attorneys for the city of West Des Moines have defined the applicant as not being of good moral character, which is required to have a liquor license under state code, and is recommending this denial of the liquor license. With that, I would take a motion to deny the liquor license.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Come on up. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Jorge Sanchez. I live at 1907 Blossom Lane in Marshalltown, Iowa. I'm the owner and operator of JG Assets and Management, also known as Chaos Club. Little background about me. I used to be a musician. I did sound engineering for Toby Keith, just a little bit of a background on that. I did tour with big name bands like Toby Keith, the singer. I am a minority here in Iowa, one of the minorities. Just want to let you know that I am a very hard working entrepreneur Latino. I want to be someone in Iowa. I have a great family. I did bring him with me. I couldn't find a babysitter. So I pretty much back in 2018, I did apply for a liquor license. And the reason for that is I did have a business, a club in Marshalltown. It was the same type of club, a Latino club, dance club. And 2018, the tornado F3 destroyed it. So this opportunity came to me as far as opening up a nightclub up here in West Des Moines. So I was willing to take that challenge to start Escaret Club and Lounge And like I said, 4 years ago, I did apply for it, and by recommendation from your staff, my application, it was denied. After my application was denied back in 2018, Escadet, I sold it and was transferred to my wife. She really didn't have enough experience to manage an alcohol liquor license establishment. So it was a little bit of a risk that she was taking, which she was willing to do it. When she applied, we did have a meeting with the city clerk, Ryan Jacobson, and the city attorney. They brought us both to their office, and it was very clear that I could not run Xcaret, which my intentions was to be the sound engineer and contract band, since that's a little bit of my background. That's kind of what I did. So my wife decided to hire me to the club so I can manage and the entertainment part, the sound, the lighting, since she didn't have much experience in that. I did say that. Moving forward, 2020, we did have an accountant. When she was doing the taxes and stuff, there was a taxes that was not properly done or applied for, which my wife did apply for it. After my wife applied, we were both charged with tax evasion. I was actually charged even though I was in paper, I wasn't the owner. It was her. Per our attorney recommendation, if we would have proceeded with going to trial and all that stuff, it would have cost us thousands of dollars. And that's when the prosecutor came and gave us a plea. And we decided to plead that if we choose the other way, that could have bankrupted us. So the deal was to pay taxes back, which we didn't hesitate at all. It was not done. She didn't do it on purpose. It was just lack of knowledge. Since it was very clear to me that I could not manage it, so therefore I was in charge of the sound and lighting, which it was interpreted that I was running the establishment. Everything has been paid. Every single penny was paid back to the Iowa Department of Revenue. That's what the court wanted, the prosecutor wanted. I think I sent those documents that there's no longer a debt there. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting here actually with the Board of Supervisors, the Development Services Department. So I guess they changed the zoning, and for some reason they wanted to change the hours of our model operation from 2 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if thank God the city, the board members, they pretty much came in and they acknowledged that that's not really doable. We can't make money that way. So my reputation, yes, it's not great. I'm not a perfect person, okay? But why do I want to continue with this is because I invested a lot of money into the establishment back in 2018. And I have a long-term lease on it as well. So by having, as of right now, the club is run as BYOB, so it's bring your own beverage. So we don't have control of everybody, how much they're drinking. But as far as we know, as far as what hired an attorney to kind of give us a little bit more of what can we do, what we can't do, is they came back and said, well, you don't need much, you just have to don't allow minors to drink. You know, and of course, the club right now has security, and everybody's ID'd, they're stamped and wristband. That of course they cannot drink. That minor that there was a complaint or something, we don't know who it is or what they would say that, but as far as we know, there's no from 18 to 20 that cannot drink any alcohol right now. We would not allow that. I know your staff recommended you guys not to approve my application, and I really think that I deserve a chance. Back in 2018, like again, I was denied. We tried to. Of course, it didn't go as planned, but that's because I was not in control. You know, I gotta make money for my family. I gotta make money for my kids. And to be honest, if this doesn't get approved, we're gonna have to close. Just the same thing I told.
Okay, I need you to wrap it up if you could here.
Okay.
Last couple comments.
I do want to let you guys know that there's no really big fights. There's no big things that you know happen downtown. And we kind of compare on that. We try to keep it a little bit classy. You know, if attire and stuff like that, we try to keep it that way. Just because we know if we cater to a different type of crowd, we know it's going to get rowdy. So I don't think we got big complaints from the West Des Moines West Des Moines Police Department on that. But yeah, I'm open for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to address the council on this item? Okay, come on up. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Council. My name is Liz Carminati. My address is 2912 East Deal Avenue in Des Moines, Iowa. I've been in Iowa since about 2006. Just a quick background. I'm originally from Monterrey, Mexico. As a hobby, I am a DJ. Been doing that for about 7 years as a hobby. For the last maybe 3-5 years, I have been doing it a little bit more professionally, you know, giving a little bit of opportunities here and there. And now, you know, I'm proud to say that I'm considered one of the only few Latin DJs here in Iowa. I had the opportunity, or Oscar, you know, granted me the opportunity to play for his club a couple years ago. I do so a couple times a year, and I also attend Xcaret on a regular basis as a consumer. I can honestly testify to you guys that Xcaret is a safe, fun environment for people to come in and have a good time. They cater mostly to tropical Latin music. You know, people come out to dance, celebrate our culture, and just have a good time. We do salsa, bachata, reggaeton. We really try to cater to the culture here in Des Moines, you know, and express and promote diversity and inclusion that we just don't have any other place to do so. To be very honest, you know, as I've mentioned, I've been here since 2006, and having a place to go where it's fun to just celebrate music and express ourselves through dance, it just really doesn't exist. Xcaret is the only place that we have and that have had for a couple of years that provides that safe environment. Oscar allows community bands or local bands to promote their music and, promote diversity. We really don't have the resources here like Chicago, maybe like Kansas City, where we have multiple options. I've never seen any fights at Xcaret. Everybody comes out to have a good time and celebrate, either or Hispanicness or just, just dance and have a good time. I see a lot of different cultures, partake in this. And I'm sure as you guys have probably, attended a few, maybe the Hispanic festival downtown, you guys can see that Latin music is really enjoyed, not just for us here in the Hispanic community, but it's something that it's, really for everyone. So I just would like you guys to, take in consideration giving this good family another chance. Like he said, I'm sure, we are all human, they're learning. We're all immigrants to this country. Unfortunately, a lot of, tax stuff we just don't learn in school. And, I've never experienced any violence or anything that would make me feel that this is a threat to the city of West Des Moines, that I also, spend a lot of time to and enjoy, I just really wish you guys could reconsider and grant this good family another chance. And for me also, this will be an opportunity to keep sharing my passion for music and provide people with an opportunity to come out and celebrate who they are without being ashamed.
All right, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Sure. Give us your name and address for the record, if you will.
My name is Mary Cruz Meza, and I live on 1712 Northwest Prairie Creek Drive in Grimes, Iowa. And I know that the precedence for future behavior is past behavior. And I'm here urging you and pleading to you that you reconsider the license for this club, as he's shown and he's proven that he is paying back and he's showing good intention. His character is on a good path to change. My background is human resources, and I have been doing human resources for over 20 years. And I have lots of different talks with Oscar and talking to him about his human performance with the community, with the family, and how he can improve, how he can change, how having this ability to have the license of the liquor license in his establishment will suffice for his family and the community. And also as a Latina, I urge you that in September, Latino month, you take in real consideration in granting this for him and his family and our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Anybody online that would like to address the council on this item, please hit star 6 to unmute yourself. Give us your name and address for the record. Okay. I guess, man, this is tough for me. And I'll tell you why, because, Councilman Trevilian and I sat here in 2018, and you applied for the liquor license at that time, and it was determined. Oh, you were here? Okay.
She was here.
It was determined at that point in time that, I don't think you were able to get the liquor license because you didn't meet the definition of good moral character under the Code of Iowa. And so we turned it down. You said, give me another chance. My wife is going to run it, and I promise, she's going to do it. I'm going to have nothing to do with this. And I think at the time you owed back taxes at that time as well. Okay, you didn't pay those back taxes back then. So that was your first chance. And I specifically said to you guys as a councilman, I said, please be careful. Please make sure that she's the one running the business, not you. But you've got a checking account in your name, and it's been found that you're basically running this business. You also wouldn't let our police into the establishment when they had a need to get in, okay? Now, you've had your chance. So we've already given you a chance. This is the second chance. And now you're asking for a third chance, but a liquor license is something really serious. And you appeal to diversity, equity, inclusion, which we take very serious here. We want to make sure that we have a welcoming and inclusive community, and we've been working really hard on that. But you have to abide by the laws. You got to pay your taxes. You got to have good moral character if you're going to have a liquor license. And you got to have all those things if you're going to provide for your family and run a business. This is a privilege. having this liquor license. This is something that the state of Iowa, that the city of West Des Moines takes very seriously. Because if you abuse this, you could do a lot of harm in this community. But not only have you not let the police in, we've got the complaint of somebody drinking underage. We've also got a complaint of having the establishment open past 2 a.m. and liquor being in the establishment. The back taxes were a lot less in 2018. Now they're $100,000. You said you've paid them, but you don't meet the definition of good moral character. You might be a great guy, but you don't meet the definition of good moral character under the code. So you're asking us to do a lot. And I understand what's at stake here, but you understood that too. And you didn't abide by that. And we sat here in 2018, I specifically said, please make sure you have your wife run that business. We can go look at the tape if you want. But anyway, any other discussion on this? Okay.
No,
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Trillian.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say that, I do appreciate that you're here pleading your case. This is what democracy is all about, and this is what about representation is all about. And I want to say, because I think, are these your children here? Okay. And I just feel compelled to say that when we say, or when you're hearing, or your children are hearing, that you don't have good moral character, I really want to make sure that the children understand that it's nothing to do with you as a father or who you are. It's really how the code is written. I have to say that. I have to say that because your children are here. And while you may have had some infractions, and I'm just going to speak my truth, while you may have had some infractions and all of that, I just want to be real careful that they walk out of here understanding that when you hear that you don't have good moral character based on what is being said and what's by law, these young children understand that it has nothing to do with you and your life and you as a father. It's kind of the way this code is written, and that's what's said. So I need to have them hear that from me. I do think that this is difficult because as much as I want to be able to say, let's make this work, when I do that under these circumstances, I set a precedent for maybe others to follow that I think might be a challenge. Because if I decide to say yes, the circumstances of when I say no to another that has lesser kinds of things become a challenge. It is ironic that we're sitting here celebrating National Hispanic Month, and you're sitting here trying to get your business going so that you can have these kinds of things. But it's a difficult position that we're in. While I might like you and while I might like what you've said and how you're trying to do things, how I vote sets precedent on what happens moving forward. So I just need to share that with you as a background before I vote, that this is difficult and it's a challenge, but it's complex. And based on things that have happened prior to this, it makes it hard to try to do anything different than follow the code that binds us regarding this license. But the main thing I want, no matter how this vote comes to be, is that I want your children to understand that saying this good moral character does not equate to the relationship you may have with your father or who he is as a person. This is business. I just need to say that from the bottom of my heart.
That's a great point.
I just want to add that in the comments that the mayor made back in 2018 were 100% correct. There was that serious concern that, oh, no, my wife's going to run it, knowing that she didn't have the background to do it. And here we are. You're saying that you're owner of the company and whatnot. One question I've got, though, and this is probably for our city attorney, is currently it says they're operating as a BYOB establishment, which means they do not have to have a liquor license, correct? So if we deny them this liquor license, they can continue to operate as they have been, correct?
That's correct. They're also, I believe, I don't know if they want to operate after hours. They do have to have a license from the city to operate after hours. That's from 2 to 6. But if they want to operate before that without serving liquor, that's within their prerogative.
Okay, so even without a liquor license, they have to come to us to operate after 2 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. But what concerns me is that you can continue as you have been since, was it June, I believe, as a BYOB establishment. If you do that, though, we still have the problem of somehow allowing underage people to come into the establishment and consume alcohol. And did the denial of police entering the facility happen since 2018?
Yeah, but to Mr. Sanchez, I think he's probably going to say that this did go to an administrative law judge, in which he determined that they were not allowed to enter, but that there may have been some extenuating circumstances. So it was not quite clear. You could be, I'm sure the police would take the position that they should have been able to enter, and under a liquor license, you know, they are allowed to enter at any time, that you're given consent. It's kind of implied, or it's expressed when you get the liquor license. But the judge did find that there was some circumstances might have had some effect on that particular issue. But you're correct, they did not enter, or they were not allowed to enter, and they kind of did not push it until they walked away.
And that troubles me as well. Whether it's a BYOB establishment, that it's coming into your property, that you know people are consuming alcohol, I would think that if you're really wanting to do the right thing, you would be following the law as though you had a liquor license. And so if the police come knocking at your door wanting to investigate something, I would think you'd want to let them in. Otherwise, what are you trying to hide? I mean, that's the impression it gives. So I'm going to let you come up and address that, yes.
Thank you for allowing me, sir. Do I have to say my name again?
No, that's fine.
It was never me personally denying access to the police department, sir.
But it was your company, your establishment, your employees, whatever. It's still you. The buck stops with you.
Let's let him finish his statement.
Thank you. I know that's how it looks like. And I can stand here and tell you that no, I wasn't running it. I wasn't allowed to. But of course, you're gonna follow what your staff tells you. So all I can tell you is that I never denied a police officer to come into the establishment. My job was to do the sound, contract the entertainment. Yes, occasionally there's DJs, there's friends of DJs that show up to the door and they call for me, get me backstage or something like that. Yeah, I go up there and sometimes I let them in. It depends if they're with a group of DJs and stuff like that. That's kind of how that goes. But going back, and by allowing me to run this business how I'm supposed to run it. Now, I know that you've said that, I have no perfect record. Yes, I agree. But when you have, the orders was don't be involved as far as managing the establishment, I took that seriously. Now, the investigators, they pretty much said that, yes, he's helping running it. Well, yeah, you're gonna see me there directing like the bands and the DJs, and if occasionally the staff, hey, they're gonna want bottled water, they need pop, they need, yes, because that's kind of how all that comes into play. And if they saw me doing that, yeah, they're probably gonna say, yes, he's running it. So I can't really change your mind on that. Now, I know you don't want to give me another opportunity, and there's going to be a lot of people, I think, disappointed because Xcaret right now is one of the well, it's actually, I think it's the only Latino club in Des Moines, and it's hard to follow the proclamation, all that stuff. It was hard. COVID was hard. You know, if you were downtown, I've asked bar owners downtown, are you guys getting cited? They're like, yeah, they come in, but they go. Okay, so why are they picking on us, just only us? That didn't make sense to us. So in a way, it was, okay, what do we do? One was, she came to me and actually, what do I do? Well, in a way, well, we're gonna have to shut down. How are these proclamations is coming up? So to answer that, and then the minor, the person who, well, like I said, I don't have control of it. Okay, I can give an input, but I can't say you're blaming everything on me. Like if I'm doing it, even though on paper.
Well,
my
we can
court-
bring your wife up here if you want, if she's the one that needs to answer, but, you know.
My point, though, was, for bringing you up, was to address the issue that not allowing the police to come into the facility, and whether it was you that running the business or your wife that was running it, whatever. But I would hope that if the license is denied and you continue to operate as a BYOB facility, that if you truly mean what you all are saying here, that you want to do the right thing and follow the laws and everything, that if the police come knocking, you're going to let them in. Because there's nothing stopping us, if I'm understanding this correctly, from allowing you to continue for the next 50 years without a liquor license as a BYOB club. But that doesn't mean that the laws don't apply. There's still laws. Whether we allow you to continue after 2 a.m. or not, there's still laws that have to be followed, underage drinking and allowance into the facility. So that's what I'm asking is that if this is denied, but you continue as a BYOB club, that you truly do follow the laws.
You're correct, Kevin. There's an implicit, you give up your right, or you implicitly, expressly agree if you are a BYOB or any kind of club, if it's 2 to 6. You expressly state that you allow the police to come in at any time. If you're a BYOB before that time, it might be a little bit murkier, and for the police to come in, they might have to have a reasonable suspicion if the owner says, no, I don't want you to come in here. So there is a nuance there before 2 and after 2.
Can I add to that, sir? As of right now, the BYOB, we've had multiple times the police department has come in. I have never done it, and the security now has never done it. They walk right in. They start IDing people. They start bringing people outside. They still pull people over as soon as they're leaving. You know, that's what we were seeing before. And, you know, to answer that question is I have never done that. And I'm the one, I know that it looks like, yeah, we're working together and stuff like that, but I want you guys to understand that if, you know, she tried, and of course, not perfect, and if you guys want to blame it on me, then okay, blame it on me then.
Let me ask, when you came here in 2018, you hadn't paid your taxes, and that was a known fact. How come you didn't pay the taxes at that point when that was pointed out?
On
2018, when you came to get the liquor license, part of why you were denied is, again, not having the good standing, and there was back taxes that were due.
Can I ask on what business, sir?
I believe it was on the business you had maybe in Marshalltown?
No, I've had multiple LLCs.
Okay.
And there's been a few of them that hasn't came off the ground.
Did you owe back taxes when you came here in
There was,
2018?
a smaller little restaurant,
Okay.
yes.
Why-
Everything's paid off, though. Everything's cut up. Now, why? To be honest, that was my first business as well. As far as paying or doing they changed it now to paying monthly. Now, back then it was quarterly. Now, I thought my Square POS system, they were doing that. Because there's a thing that you can sign up and they pay it. It comes automatically from their account. But I found out that that wasn't the case.
Okay.
Just for clarity, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Sanchez, I think, was owning Icarumba in Marshalltown in 2015. And so it was probably true at that time you had not paid any taxes on that in 2018. I don't know if you were aware of that or it had been called to your attention by the Department of Revenue. As I understand it, in 2020 is when the department or the ABD did an investigation and found that your Square account wasn't really matching up. You were reporting no income. And so they did an investigation, and that's what led to the criminal charges against you, 5 counts, which was reduced to 3, right? And went from a felony to a aggravated misdemeanor that you and your wife both pled to.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, then shortly there, right, in fact, I think it was probably the day before, they'd also done an investigation of Icarumba and found that you had not paid your taxes from 2015 to 2019. And so that's the one that you paid the $114,000 in tax and penalty, but you didn't have any criminal charges assessed against you. So there's 2 instances where you didn't pay your taxes. One led to criminal charges and one was simply a repayment. So I don't know what you knew in 2018 when you were in here about your taxes, but they were due and owing, but you hadn't paid them.
Yeah, and that's when the processing company,
Square.
they would take care of that. And that my knowledge is that they were taking all the fees and doing it for me. Because at that time, the accountant was just doing personal stuff. And that's how, everything was being done. At least that's what I thought.
If I could just say why we are making this recommendation from the city attorney's office, and Chief Scott might have some input as well, is really it's as much perhaps the oversight of the taxes, if in fact that's what it was. I don't know, you still have to have intent when you plead guilty. I know it was a little bit. So you have to admit that you knowingly didn't pay the taxes. So that kind of goes against what you're saying.
Right.
But also it's the dishonesty that you had when you came in with your wife. Under oath, your wife, not you, but under oath, she said that she was going to be the sole owner, which apparently it had been transferred, that she was going to operate it solely, and the only thing you were going to be involved in was with the entertainment. Then it was found, and that she would write the checks. In fact, she makes a statement that I am the only one that's going to be writing checks and have any financial interest in this operation. Then when the ABD did the investigation, they found that she wasn't on the account. She wasn't writing any of the checks. You wrote everything. All the checks were from you. You were making the financial transactions for this as well as other places. So I think at the time, I have to speculate, you knew that that was going to be the way you were going to operate, but you told us otherwise in order to get this through. Now, maybe that's not correct, but that's what it appears to be.
Well, that was the worry, I think, that we
Yes.
had back then.
Absolutely.
And that's why I made the comment that I did before you left.
So to answer your question, sir, not just, I wasn't the only one signing the checks. There is maybe 2 or 3 times that I did because paying bands, paying the delivering companies, but
But that still shows that you're involved in running the business. Whether it was 2 times or every time, you're still running the business. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be able to sign a check. That's right. That's the point. That's the point we've got here.
Well, I don't know. I don't
I mean,
know
you
if
just admitted that that you did it 2 or 3 times.
I did.
That's running the business.
Well,
Does a
I think whenever you have a business, you can have a manager or a supervisor sign your checks for the company, correct? Am I wrong?
But you're not going to have a DJ or a sound engineer doing that. That's the problem we've got here.
If
And you said that's
she's
what you were
allowing
going
me to, sir?
That's That still gives you involvement in the business.
And typically, the only person that can sign checks in a business is the business owner themselves. So I guess, Dick, help us, because we need to wrap this up. What's the process here? We deny it. He's got an appeal through the ABD. The ABD could overturn. Walk us through the process. This is not the end-all, be-all here, right?
What you're trying to decide is if he has a good moral character, and one of the things you can look at is his past acts and his honesty or dishonesty, as well as his financial standing. So that's what the city attorney's office is looking at, is history as well as his financial standing with the lack of payment of the taxes and the consequences that resulted from that. If you deny this application tonight, he has the right to appeal to the ABD. It'll go through the same process that he went through before. It'll be a administrative law judge. Actually, Ms. Mendoza went through it. It'll be an administrative law judge. We'll hear the evidence from the beginning, de novo, and they will make a decision, and then there's an appeal to the administrator of the ABD, and then there's on to district court if they wish to do that. So there is an appeal process.
So they have 4 different chances along the way of appeal, essentially, for different people to hear this and make a determination.
Right.
Okay. I guess Alcoholic Beverages Division. I guess at this point, I think we need to vote on this issue unless you guys have anything to say.
No, I just have one more thing to say. Just so you know, I'm going with the recommendation for the city attorney, just because this is not my area. I want to also say that I appreciate the ideals of entrepreneurship. I really do, especially within the Latino community. And I am especially appreciative to hear several people come out in favor and sharing more about this. I'm going with the city attorney because they're have far more expertise in this particular matter. But I am grateful to hear from you and from everybody else tonight. And I do admire entrepreneurship, and that's just what I wanted to share with you. So,
thank you, Greg. Okay, with that, please vote. If you're voting yes, you're voting to deny the application.
Four yes.
Okay, the application is denied. Okay, moving on to item 7D, Amendment to City Code, amend Title 4, Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 4, Nuisances, Section 6, Abatement by Administrative Proceedings, and Section 10, Municipal Code Hearing Officer, to amend the costs of administrative hearings and which party is responsible for the payment of those hearings. We have got an ordinance for approval of the first reading. There are no outstanding issues. The amendment basically goes in, specifies an administrative appeal through the DIA, Department of Inspection Appeals, that the loser pays the cost of the hearing, and it updates the cost of the hearing in the schedule of city fees that we adopt by resolution each year. Can I get a motion to
consider the first reading?
Is there a second? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019 by amending Title 4 Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 4 Nuisances.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 7E. We've got the first reading of proposed ordinance to amend Title 7, Chapter 8F, Industrial Waste. We've got no outstanding issues, but I would just say this is quite the amendment, and I've got some questions myself, but I will wait till we get a motion in a second.
Motion to consider the first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I guess I'm going to start us out. This is quite the amendment here. This is pretty big, and it involves the WRA, which I personally think does a great job for us, but their rules and regulations are a little bit burdensome, in my opinion, and have been for some time. It looks like we're trying to do what we can to clean up the environment, which is a good thing, but I guess the question that I have for anybody that can answer it here, whether it's Brian or Tom or whoever, is what are we trying to do with this amendment? who is an example of non-significant categorical industrial user. And then whoever that is, have these businesses, industries, have they been notified about this? And have they had a chance to weigh in on not only what the impact of this amendment is, but the change in fees?
Mr. Mayor, I can answer just, Brian probably knows more than I do, but, you know, we kind of get this from the WRA, and they ask us to approve it. There are a couple of fees that are increased from like $1,000 to $1,500, that sort of thing. But to your question, the specific definition in this is non-significant categorical industrial user is a categorical user which never discharges more than 100 gallons per day of total categorical wastewater as defined in Code of Federal Regulations. So I think it's actually beneficial in that regard because it imposes less restrictions or regulations on somebody that is under that limit.
Well, I'm looking at it that it pulls that person into regulation that otherwise maybe isn't. And I guess I'm just trying to figure out what we're trying to do with this and who it is that we're pulling in.
Or excluding.
Or excluding, what the effect of this is. I honestly, I'll be real honest, I really don't trust the WRA and their overreach and over rules and regulations. And, you know, we sat down with them years ago and talked to them. They're doing a great job keeping grease out of the sewer. But the rules and regulations are so burdensome. If you even have one item on your menu that could potentially result in producing grease, then you need to have a gigantic grease interceptor, which costs tens of thousands of dollars, and you got to have one that's even bigger than you need. I think that when we took them to task the last time, they made some change to that, but I still think that they've got burdensome rules and regulations that are stifling economic development, and, you know, I just don't know what it is that we're trying to accomplish with this amendment.
I don't know if there's any huge differences from this amendment, what we've always had. It's because it's part of the Environmental Protection Agency's requirements for fats, oils, and grease in the system. And yes, you and I we've had the discussion with them, and they do have more. I think they have allowed more businesses to protest or get waivers on these than they ever had before, and by economic issues or others. But I don't think it's very much different than what we've always had.
Relatively few changes from what could I suggest this? They are under kind of a timeline, so this would be the normal course if perhaps you just pass it tonight for the first reading, and then we could have somebody from WRA to explain this to you, so you wouldn't have to, you wouldn't have to finalize it if you didn't want to.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Good idea.
And, I agree, and it'd be great to see, you know, maybe if they could give us a real-world example or two or three for the impact in our community.
Yes. Who are we bringing in? How are we impacting that?
And I think we also have to have the impact, though, if we don't pass it.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's significant.
Yes.
And this may be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
It's not.
Looking at it, sliced bread is darn good. It is good.
Best thing since French fries?
Since French fries, absolutely. I love my French fries, especially
You need
sweet
a-
potato fries.
You need a grease interceptor for those.
I do need a grease interceptor. Can't make my own fries.
The environment needs it.
All right, well, let's I guess, do
Yes,
what we're going to do on the first reading.
We'll
and
have
then if
them
we can
back.
bring
We'll have them
in
here.
somebody, that'd be great.
Please do not have them bring 100 gallons of wastewater with them, though. We don't need that.
We don't
We'll
need to
bring
see what
fat,
that looks
oil, and
like.
grease with us.
Yeah.
All right, unless somebody has another comment, please vote.
Four yes, ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019 by amending Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 8F, Industrial Waste.
Motion to approve the first reading?
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
And I'm sorry to surprise staff on that. I just went through this amendment, and it's pretty substantive. I mean, a lot of things are being changed in it, so. Okay, item 8, receive, file, and or refer. Item 8A, I regret that we are receiving and filing the resignation of Dr. Rich Salas from the Human Rights Commission. And I just want to thank Dr. Salas for his service and all that he did to strengthen the role of the Human Rights Commission when he was a member, and for the active role that he played in making sure that our city is on the right path when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Rich will be very sorely missed, and we owe him a huge debt of gratitude.
Indeed.
So, Renee.
Yes, I'd like to add to that, please. Yeah, I am, saddened to hear of his resignation from the Human Rights Commission. Dr. Salas was a person that I invited to fill out an application and consider joining the Human Rights Commission because I knew of his extensive background in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really his life journey that I think lends itself to what we're trying to create here in the city of West Des Moines. Dr. Salas was instrumental in doing a variety of things. Number one to mention is to help orchestrate our first ever Martin Luther King celebration in this city. Many times I've gone to Des Moines to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, and I can say since Dr. Salas joined the commission, I get to stay in West Des Moines and celebrate it with my fellow West Des Moinesians. So I also, too, would like to congratulate Dr. Salas for his service and to thank him immensely on behalf of the commission. And I know I speak for Audrey Kinnis, who is the staff liaison to this commission, that he's going to be sorely missed. And his contribution and his legacy, contributions and legacy will be felt for quite some time. I don't think he'll stay a stranger to our work, but he'll be one less meeting he has to attend. Which he'll gain that, but let the record show that he was a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal Human Rights Commissioner. And as we celebrate and honor National Hispanic Heritage Month, a month of which means a lot to him, coming from this culture, the timing of it is a little off for us as we celebrate this, and he's leaving, but. Thank you, Dr. Salas, if you're watching and listening in.
Thank you for your words, Renee. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters that any council person would like to bring up?
Just one
Go
thing.
ahead.
I'm sure a lot of people in the city are aware, but we lost a member of the Parks and Recreation Board last week. Rick Swalwell passed away, and he had been serving on that board for a dozen years. And when we talk about people who devoted themselves to making our city better, certainly Dr. Salas is moving on from the Human Rights Commission, and something to be celebrated. But I did want to just share that Rick's work on the Parks Board. I've only been on the Parks Board for a year, and I don't know Rick that well, but I do know that he loved the city greatly, and I do know that he spent so much time making our city greater through parks, and of course through all the other things, just being a resident of our city. So certainly we remember him fondly and have the deepest of sympathy for his family.
And when we had the holiday or the Christmas tree lighting, it was his granddaughter that lit the tree
right.
and pushed
That's
the
right.
button and lit the tree. That was his.
So-
That
he
was
was
his.
so proud.
That was his granddaughter.
Yeah. Rick was a great guy. I can't even believe we're up here talking like this, and he's not here. I had the opportunity of working with Rick for a number of years as a liaison to Parks and Rec, and he was very passionate about Parks and Recreation and was very instrumental in helping us, dream up the Five Waters projects, and he's really going to be missed a lot. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, Greg. I do want to bring up something else, and that is, I know there's a pretty somber mood here, not only with Rick, with Dr. Salas stepping down, but also with the denial of the liquor license of Mr. Sanchez, who was here a second ago. And, I think, we all would have liked to have approved that and to have him be able to continue to earn a living and everything else, but you got to follow the laws. You got to have a good moral character. And Renee points out that it's the definition of good moral character by the Code of Iowa, not whether or not he's a good person. And I think he seems like a nice person. He seems like a good dad to his kids, and he seems very passionate about running his business. But the bottom line is, I don't care who you are. If you don't follow the law, you are not able to operate the business and continue on. That's the bottom line. So I know we all feel bad. I know we all feel sad. But it is what it is, and we did the right thing. So, and with no other business to come before the council,
Thank you. You're welcome. I'll thank you again.